It's working on it.
Isn't technology insane?
So as you said that, it like glitched out on me.
That's what I mean. Oh, hi, Adam. Woohoo.
There. All right. So we are here. Sarah Lindeman here, Adam Lindeman, and some of our valued friends and soon to be acquaintances, coworkers, everyone joining in here. Good to see everyone joining us both on the Zoom and on Facebook Live. So we're happy you're here. I'm Sarah Lindeman, and we also have Adam Lindeman here. We're with the Green Executive. And we have Erin. Erin is from Home Base. If you wondered what Home Base was, Home Base is Profit First Corporate. So she works in the trenches with Profit First every single day, helping all of us to stay on the up and up with things and reminding us that Profit First is a tool for our benefit, right? So Erin has quite the resume. Adam, would you like to share some of her details, and I'll let some more of our friends in on this Zoom?
Well, actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have Erin share some details on her behalf for herself, if she doesn't mind. I am on my phone. I am having technical difficulties on my computer. So this is the only way I was able to join. So I have a feeling my audio is not great. So Sarah, if you could just run with it, you and Erin, I would appreciate it.
Well, we can hear you just fine. You're fine. So Erin, she's a mama. She's a hardworking boss lady. She's a wife. She deals with Mike McCalvitz all the time. So how are you, Erin?
I am good. I'm glad to be here. And, I appreciate you guys for taking time out of your day to work on your business. I think that right there is the secret sauce. And it really is a game changer when it comes to just what we're able to do in this world, period. Taking the time and spending it intentionally in the ways we know are going to yield fruit. So I'm excited to see you all today. And I'm excited because I do want to share with you some tips and tricks and things to be mindful of as you're working through Profit First implementation and looking at it in the light of your business. Because I know that we all there are babies, right? You get into entrepreneurship, you have this passion for your family, for your home, for your just this picture of lifestyle, right? And we have a system, right? How powerful is that to have a system to serve? So I'm excited to share a little bit more today.
Well, we're excited to have you, and thank you. Yes.
Yeah. So Adam asked for me to share more about just what Profit First is in general. For anybody that might not be familiar, I know that you guys are a pretty close-knit group and familiar with a little bit on the back end. But one of the things that we've learned over the years is that Profit First is not just a bunch of bank accounts, right? It's not just these buckets that we throw money into.
Right.
It really is a behavioral mechanism. Hi, Kevin. It really is a behavioral cash management tool, right? I mean, when we think about how we're making decisions and how we're engaging with the business, it really happens in the day, in our bank accounts, kind of not necessarily split second, but really just kind of contemplating through a glance what we have available to us in that moment. And for entrepreneurs, most often we're not going into our QuickBooks and we're not asking our bookkeeper for the most recent financial statements. And even when we get those, it's like, okay, well, can we sit down and talk about it? Most of our decision is in that bank balance accounting. And so that's where Profit First is really powerful. It takes and it leverages that natural behavior as opposed to recreating and moving us against the grain, right? So we're very focused on creating with intention a system and process that serves that natural behavior, but also that allows for us to put parameters in place to make good, solid financial decisions with peace.
Right?
Yeah. So I will share with you a little bit more about that. So for those that aren't familiar, again, it's very behavioral, and it's all based off of this concept of Parkinson's law, right? If you read the book, you're probably familiar with that Profit First by Mike Michalowicz. Parkinson's law is it's really the underlying tone and the foundation of the behavioral wiring. So Parkinson's law is this inherent, it's an inherent act that we tend to use what is available to us in its full capacity, right? So if we have a plate full of food, guess how much we're eating? Likely a plate full of food. If we have 10 hours available to us to do a job, guess how much time we're likely doing or taking to do a job? 10 hours, right? This applies to literally everything. And it's no different when it comes to our money. And when we think about, again, just how we're functioning in our business, most of the time, business owners will have 1 or 2 bank accounts and maybe a savings account, right? Most of the money is going into this big chunk, this big plate. And guess what happens based off Parkinson's law? Guess how much we use? That whole plate. And so when we're
We
in
eat
this,
it all in full.
I know. So we're in this space and we've been trained as professionals to function in this, all right, I make money, I do what I gotta do, and whatever left over is gravy, right? But we get to the end and nobody has any gravy, right? And then you go and you look at your financial statements and you're like, oh, my net income says I have $80,000. Where the heck is my $80,000? And it's just this cycle of frustration and just unknown that we can break. So I'm excited because Profit First is really one of those mechanisms that takes what we know and creates clarity, right? So we actually use that concept of Parkinson's law and we leverage it. We know we're going to use what we have available to us. We know it. I mean, you can't put a bowl of candy in front of me and expect me to stop. It's just not going to happen, right? So we're going to take a few pieces of candy and we're going to put them in places that are okay to indulge in within reason, right? So when we're looking at our business, that's what we're doing. We're giving the parameters to say yes, but we're also putting some boundaries so that we aren't excessive, right? So we use this concept of small plates, right? You know, in the diet industry, they have their big old platter. You're going to eat the whole platter. But when you break it up and you put it into smaller plates, the reality is we consume less. So the same is true with our bank accounts, right? If all of this money is just in this one spot, it's going to be there. We're going to likely use the majority of it. If we're lucky, we might have a couple pennies left over, right? But there's no intention in that. Who wants to go through life just waiting for it to happen to you, right? The whole purpose of Profit First is intentionality. And it's not just always in profitability. It's intentionality in paying yourself. It's intentionality in being a philanthropist, right? It's intentionality of where your passion and purpose is, right? So we use bank accounts. Core bank accounts really consist of an income account, so money flows in. Then we have a profit account to reward the business for being in business, right? And creating that buffer, that emergency fund, that intentional cash position, right? Then we have owner's pay, which again is to reward the business. The most valuable player on the business team is you, right? If we are not paying you what you are worth, it's going to be a lot harder to wake up in the morning and a little bit more frustrating getting your hands dirty, right? So we want to reward the business owner with intention. Again, I'm going to say that word 1,000 times. Then we're going to focus on protecting ourselves, right? It's tax time. Holy stinking cow, that's scary in so many situations when the tax man comes knocking and you don't have a clue how you're going to make that bill happen, right? So one of the things in Profit First that we're really conscious of is saving for the purpose of that bill, day after day, week after week, allocation after allocation, so that when that tax man comes knocking, guess what? We can just write a check and wash our hands of it and move along with our lives, right? I mean, the profit account is glorious, but the tax account, I've had more people cry. Sorry.
Aw, no, you're fine. It brings me back to what you said earlier about peace, that you don't have to worry or have fear, oh, it's tax time, or oh, how am I going to pay for this or pay for that? You can be at peace knowing that that's been set aside already.
Yeah, no joke. It literally is the number one account that brings anybody implementing it to tears. It's just that exhale that you don't have to worry about your house being in trouble or them coming for your assets. It's just knowing you've done your due diligence and you're not going to be paying an arm and a leg on top of it trying to catch up, right? So we're intentional putting that aside. And then, of course, serving, right? We want to serve the business. So we're going to have that OPEX account and we're going to have it, of course, designed to serve the business. And the cool thing is being in the landscaping space, we might have a couple extra to serve, but those are the main accounts that we use, and we let money flow through it. The thing is here, like I said, when we're moving money into spaces with intention, a lot of times that will trigger mindset shift. Profit first isn't just a bunch of bank accounts. It is really creating a consciousness in where money is going and for what, so that you can have peace and clarity in the decision process, right? But it also allows for you to start walking through your spending process a little differently, right? You start to engage with opportunity differently, and you start to see this internal shift in a really super healthy way. I mean, you think about it, you exercise once, you're a lot more likely to eat a salad than a cookie because you don't want to waste the exercise. Same is true here. You start putting money aside into your profit account, it feels good, right? You start to see that build and grow, and then you take a profit distribution, you're going to be a lot less likely to spend on something frivolous, or at least go through a different process as you're determining whether or not this is an investment worth making, right? So there are, of course, a couple other extensions to that. But really, our goal is to create priority around the things we know that impact our business and systematize it, right? When you think about it, and here's the thing, profit first is not just, shoot, I'm struggling, let me get out of this mud, right? Profit first, this is a mechanism that can change a really healthy large business, because that concept of clarity and consciousness and accountability, there's checks and balances in place, and it changes how we ask questions, how we look at things, right? So as we're going through, one of the things you'll see is you start to create system. You start to create opportunity for growth because you have an underlying process in place, and your mindset and your focus, it's now shifting into a higher elevation that is more focused on growth and the movement of what you want in your business, right? So you get to
Erin,
watch all of
I'm
these
glad you
things
touched
build.
on that. I'm glad you
Yeah.
touched on that, Erin, because I think that's a common, there's some common questions or kind of mysteries surrounding profit first. And I think one of them is that it's only intended for people who are in crisis mode. And I'm glad you touched on the fact that that's not true, that you just keep elevating yourself as you work through the system. And wherever your starting point is, that's your starting point, and that's true for you, but you can always get that system in place and elevate your business, elevate your thought process on that. And it seems kind of abstract, I think, like, oh, how is moving money in a bank account going to ever get me from point A to point B? But it just kind of does, and it's because you're drawing on those principles, that just natural human behavior. And there's that saying that what gets attention gets improved, and
Yep.
It's that.
Yeah, 100%. And so I'd love to share with you kind of an example of, the other benefits that come as you do implement something like this. I mean, we know when you're looking at the end goal for your business. I mean, sit down right now. In 10 years, where do you want to be? In 5 years, what's your hope? Do you want to sell your business? Do you want to pass this down to your children? Is this something you want to kind of just buy an island and hang out there and you let some other guy run it? Like, what's the game plan?
Let's do C,
Right?
please.
I'm going to go C. But where do you want to be? But the reality is, the thing that moves a business into a space where you are in a position where you can capitalize on any of those opportunities are systems, profit, and people. You want to have the biggest bang for your buck in a selling situation, you got to have all of those things. And not only will you have proof that your business is profitable and you can pay the business owner well, you're going to have a lot of picture as far as a process to maintain that, or you're going to have everything in place for maintaining that. If you step out for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, a month, right? You don't have to worry about what's going on in your business because you've put into place checks and balances to serve so you can have peace in the process. But going back to the example, actually it was so I've been a Profit First guide here at Profit First Professionals for 6 years now. And when we first started, I mean, we didn't know just how impactful this could be, right? It obviously we saw it from a financial standpoint, but the more we do it, the more we engage with businesses. This is really a mechanism for peace. I mean, you can see this little license plate behind me, S minus P equals E, right? One of those things will say S minus P equals E. That stands for sales minus profit equals expenses. But that P, it stands for passion, purpose, peace, right? What is it in your business that you are desperate to see, right? Can we create a game plan in our financials to serve that? So one of the coolest experiences we've had implementing Profit First was actually with a multi-million-dollar accounting firm, right? Actually had 3 branches, and he loved the concept, loved the system, wanted to have a more clear communication system to share what the heck was going on in financials, because that's just a common pain point around the world, right? And he's like, I love Profit First. I want to be a Profit First professional. One of the requirements we have to being a Profit First professional is you have to take your own medicine. There's no being a Profit First professional unless you're doing this. And I can tell you, change is hard even when it's good, right? So here comes this multi-million-dollar business. And just because he makes multi-million dollars doesn't mean he was in a great place. But this guy happened to be in a pretty good position because he was scared out of his mind and wasn't moving money at all, not even to himself as the business owner, right? So one of the things we did was we took 3 branches, and he's like, listen, I don't know if I believe you. Right? He's like, I love the communication mechanism. I love the benchmarking and the comparables, but he's like, I don't know if I need this, right? Just like it's okay. I'm the exception. And so what we did was we took the 3 separate businesses and we implemented a taste in each. So in one business, all he had was a profit and a tax account, right? If that's where you start minimally, I promise you, there will be at least cash in the bank and a little bit more peace when you go into tax time. Go ahead, start there, right? So that's what he did. One of the businesses, all right, I'm going to do the bare bones. The next business, he did his main accounts, right? Profit, owners pay tax, OPEX. Third business, he did an income account. He had his core accounts, and then he had his non-temptation profit and tax account at another bank. So Q1 comes through and he's like, listen, this is ridiculous. I can't even look at this business that just has the profit and tax account. It just is making me mad. I need to go open the rest of the accounts, because he was experiencing, again, the beauty of having a clear picture in real time. It's real-time cash reporting. It's your statement of cash flows come to life, right? Is your bank accounts. He's like, I lasted 2 months. I'm sorry. I opened the other bank accounts. It's just not, the profit and tax account work. But when you feel it in the other businesses, I'm not sitting here. So in the main accounts, he walked through, continued through the quarter. Every single business, he ended up opening even the non-temptation account. Want to know why? He said,
Because it was working.
It was working, but it wasn't because of the money, right? He said for the first time in his 25 years of business, he paid himself and he brought the check home to his wife and said, here, this is what we have. You can spend it.
Aww.
His
That
entire,
gave me goosebumps.
every time I
Aw.
think his entire business life, he would put money
Aw.
into I'm going to pay myself, and he would never bring it to his home. He would wait months and months because he was horrified that something was going to go awry in the business and he was going to have to take that money back. I mean, I'm not even joking. It gives me goosebumps every single time. His wife cried.
Yeah.
It was the first time he actively took money out of the business and paid himself. That's the piece. He knew he had a reservation, or a reserve, I should say, a reserve in place in case there was something that needed money or attention, because let's be real, life is fickle. It'll get you, right? Those cash reserves are powerful. He had money in place for his taxes, so he wasn't going to be worried about a random bill, right? He had exactly what he needed and recognized everything that was going to go into his daily investments just to have things operate. And that gave him all the peace in the world to pay himself
That's
in every
awesome.
single business, right? So this is where, and again, this is a simple subject. You might not be struggling to pay yourself. You might not be struggling to put money in a bank. You might be struggling, how the heck do I spend? I'm so scared, right? When you have a mechanism to see where things is and you can create opportunity to spend, and you have that freedom to say yes when opportunity comes knocking, sometimes that's the greatest thing in the world, right? So when you're in a position where you're like, I need to hire, can I hire? We'll say, hey, go open a hiring account. Let's see. Let's start putting, how much would you hire that person for? What does that dollar value amount look like? Let's put that into an account, see if you can make it. And if you can't, what adjustments will we need to make? You can test the elasticity of your business's cash by using this concept to create movement, right? And that's not just, that can be marketing, that can be new equipment. You can create what you would like to see happen in your business with something as simple as a bank account and a game plan behind it.
Love it.
I think that the simplicity of it, it almost seems too simple, right?
Yeah.
But it's just seems too simple. But it's just that drawing on your natural instincts, the way we naturally work, and just implementing that process and getting the flow down just forces you to focus what you find important on those things.
Yeah. And the reality is, simple doesn't mean easy, right? Even healthy, positive change, it still stinks, right? It still takes effort. You still have to show up. And the reality is, again, this is not something that's going to happen every day, right? Where you're perfect and you don't spend money where you shouldn't spend money, right? This is a process where you actively are able to work through the kinks of just being a human, but you have things in place where if you do make a bad decision, it's not your last bad decision. You're going to have opportunity and cash behind you to solve whatever problems come your way, right? So it's empowering. It also will give you a little bit of a buffer in there. The reality is, I mean, the goal in entrepreneurship is to make more decisions in your future's favor than not, right? And the reality is there's going to be some that aren't, and that's okay. This is a way for you to be able to hopefully have, again, more of those favorable decisions than not.
Love it. Erin, can you, I'm sorry, what I went to ask is, does anybody have any questions? Because we don't have a whole lot longer with you. Ryan or Nicole, who else is on with us? Tara? Do you
Go
guys
ahead,
have any
ask
questions?
any
Kevin?
questions. And you can make them personal.
Christy?
That's cool too.
Sue? Any profit first questions at all?
I'll keep an eye out for some. I know something that a lot of people here might be interested in is a drip account, which is you have your core accounts and kind of like Erin mentioned, a hiring account. You know you want to hire somebody, let's start shuttling a little money away for that so that we can be prepared to hire someone. And does that still work within our cash flow? So similar to that is a drip account, meaning a seasonal account, an account to get us through the off season. Could you touch on that, Erin, for us?
Yeah. So this is so actually, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the book. A lot of our advanced profit first concepts come later in the book. The drip account is one of those advanced profit first accounts. The beauty of the drip account is that it gives you an opportunity to create your own cash flow. It gives you an opportunity to create more stability in a space where there might not be. And a lot of that subject matter happens in just the natural seasonality that business experiences, right? So actually, I use the landscaping industry all the time when I'm talking about the drip account, because you guys are super subject, if you are in any kind of state that has snow or anything like that, to seasonality. So the drip account is really a hold account where we will put money in throughout our heavy season, whether it's a dollar value amount, percentage point, what have you. Well, you would dive in personally trying to find what kind of wiggle room we have, but you would deposit money into this drip account during the seasons where you have that surplus of cash. And you will hold on to that bad boy and let it sit until you are in that space where your cash flow dries up. Then you trickle the money. And the reason it's called a drip account is because you'll drip it into your business in a frequency, if you will, in a rhythm. Usually we use in the Profit First world, the 10th and 25th. We'll allocate money from our income account into our profit owners pay and tax on the 10th and 25th. But we would take a chunk of that drip account, again, based off of the time frame that you would like that money to last you. And we would trickle it in as we do our typical Profit First allocations anyway, right? And that allows for you to kind of last through that slow season. And the other thing that we're conscious of in there too is it's not just that slow season that gets us a lot of times. Most of the businesses that we work with that handle seasonality, when they are actually tapping into their line of credit, that happens when they are trying to jumpstart their heavy season again, right? You know, you think about the people you got to get going, the equipment you got to get working, gas in and of itself. I mean, that'll put you in a place where you don't have the cash fund to cover it if you're not really working too much in those slower seasons. So this drip account is designed to not only create more flow and for you to be able to pay yourself and keep things in a healthy space during that slow season, but it also is designed so you don't have to leverage that line of credit. You become your own dang banker, right? And this is a long play. This is a slow roll in a lot of situations, but it's incredible. Just even a small intentional shift like this in a space where you don't feel like you're missing any money can create so much peace in the long run throughout the entire year. So it really is a mechanism where you start to become your own banker and you're able to create more flow and consistency. And if you are working with anybody where you're getting a deposit for a project, the drip account is great as well. A lot of times where our funk and our cash flow comes, we get these jobs that are huge chunks of money. We deposit them into our business and they're there. Of course, you have materials and things that you have to purchase and everything like that. But by the time the job is done, so are the funds, because Parkinson's law in a lot of situations. So when you're working on these jobs, the drip account isn't just, hey, let's handle seasonality. Sometimes it's creating that flow of money. So the money that is there for the project is trickled out as the resources are used to facilitate that work, right? So you can have money move in your business in a way that is more in conjunction with the function of the engagements that really do create that first line of defense in cash flow, right? This is it, right? Profit First is not a bunch of bank accounts and regulations and all these rules. It's you having a stronger engagement and more authority in how money is moving and working for you.
I think that's such a good drawback 30,000 foot overview is that you have all these, the way your business works, you have all these procedures inside your business. Your money can match that and one can push the other.
Yep. And the second you aren't worried about money, guess how much stronger your focus is on your business.
Boom, mic drop right there.
But I mean, kudos to you guys. Awesome. It all starts with just showing up, working on your business, that one small step in the right direction. If you guys don't know where to start, because I do get it, it's simple, but holy cow, it's scary, right? If you guys don't know where to start, if you have a savings account open right now, start putting 1% aside of every dollar that you make. Promise you, you will be blown away at how capable you are, right? And how quickly money builds. But also, you know, you'll watch and you'll see just how empowering intentionality is in the subject.
Well,
Thank
awesome.
you, Erin.
Thank you so much, Erin, for sharing that with us. I enjoyed it very much, and I hope all of you did as well. Adam, did you have anything to add?
I don't. Just follow us at our Profit First for Landscapers Facebook group, where we talk nothing but profit first.
Well, and if you guys have any questions, seriously though, Adam and Sarah They are no joke. They know their stuff. And we're talking all the time anyway. So I appreciate you guys and all
Right?
you do.
Thank you, Erin.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Erin. Thank you.
Bye, everybody. Have a
Bye,
really awesome
everybody.
day.